Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the Civic Lens Weekly. I'm seated between two distinguished lawyers, one an advocate, and we are here to unpack the stories that shape our nation's democracy. So buckle up because it's about to get heated. How are you, SARUNI?
Very fine, thank you.
This is his first week being the Deputy Secretary General of this party.
Yes.
How is
In fact, it's a pleasure. We are mobilizing more people to join the party. You know, Democratic Party is a party that was founded in 1991. So having a young person like myself as the Deputy SG shows that there is an opportunity for more young people to come on board. And it has been nice. And tunaendelea kuchapa hiyo kazi.
Okay, and my senior advocate AKUDE Jura, how are you?
Good.
I saw you in Mombasa was it yesterday? You just landed.
Yes, on a professional duty.
I was thinking we might not have our episode today because the last time I was checking his startup, he was somewhere in the coastal region.
I did a return ticket. But I
I know they are planning for some 20th anniversary.
Yes.
The ODM is actually planning its 20th anniversary between the dates, I think
10th to 12th of October.
Yeah. And this will happen in Mombasa.
And you're going back?
Yes, I want to invite all party lovers, all supporters. Let us meet in Mombasa and celebrate our party's birthday.
Thank you. So the conversation begins just right where AKUDE has led us. The ODM is set to enjoy their 20th anniversary. That is 4 successive elections since its inception on the 10th to 12th of October. But people are saying that Raila has tried to pacify these particular populace before they get to Mombasa on that day. So we want to ask, the statements that Baba made recently, was this the party position or is it a decoy ahead of 2027?
You know, when Baba speaks, first we know that Baba is the ODM party leader. And where was he speaking? This platform was a party's PG meeting. And he was basically telling the members of parliament what our party's sovereignty stands for. That, you know, our MOU with the government did not describe what is our intention in 2027 as far as presidential elections is concerned. So this statement was not just what some people refer to a political statement. It was a statement that underscored the extent and limit within which our MOU with the government reached. So this statement reminds members of the ODM party, and in particular the MPs, the governors, all elected leaders, that they have to wait for the right time and get party's direction. They cannot start doing what is called signal leakage, you know, by trying to engage with the government, thinking that we are going to support Ruto in 2027. ODM is a strong party, and ODM needs time to discuss that together with its supporters, whether we should go and field candidate in 2027 or whether we have an actionable plan that we can put on the table, go with others that want us to support them, and if we agree, why not, we'll support Ruto. But at the start, there is no such support. So the MPs who are perhaps behaving in a way to suggest that we are supporting Ruto in 2027 and beyond, they need to hold their horses.
What do you think of Raila's statement of warning ODM members and the MPs that Jura is saying are supporting Ruto to hold their horses ahead of 2027?
Ogola, what better statement to use than to say the king is naked?
that would be Chinua Achebe's favorite.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because Raila has served diligently as a tailor who made a costume for the king and assured the king that this costume will be the best fit for you come 2027. And the king was very proud. But unfortunately, as we see right now, the dress is non-existent.
You know, my colleague needs to be very, other than just putting statements, we are having a very serious conversation, and it would be prudent that we talk based on facts, not making political statements.
Let's go back.
The MOU is there.
Just a minute.
You have to let Saruni point to which part of the MOU talks about supporting Ruto in 2027.
Of course,
no, we have none of that.
Of course, so let's put this in order a bit. Saruni is making a statement that President Ruto was under the promise of Raila Odinga that his presidential bid perhaps would survive post 2027, and right now that is not happening. Advance that.
Okay, if you were to listen to the discussions that were being held, and if you were to listen to the public pronouncements by people including the chair of ODM, Gladys Wanga, they have been very clear. If you listen to people like Joho, if you listen to the CSs who are given opportunities in government, they have been very clear that come 2027, they don't find any issue in supporting the president for a second term. And I know they used to do that so that they could make the president feel comfortable and be able to serve diligently. And the president was boasting in that shadow, and the president would, you've seen him, he has paid a lot of visits to Nyanza region for that mere fact, trying to pacify the votes and to encourage people to vote for him. But when now Right Honorable Raila Odinga says that they will no longer support Ruto, or they will cross the bridge when they get there, that shows that the president had illusion of support, and now it is non-existent.
You're saying that the MOU needs to be the playbook beyond which we view the relationship between Raila and Ruto. And you are faulting my colleague here, JC Saruni, for making statement outside the MOU. What is in the MOU that does not, or what is in the MOU, pardon me, that hints supporting Ruto past 2027?
You know, you've given my friend Saruni a straightforward question that needed to simply point that on this date, Raila Odinga made statements to the effect that he's going to support Ruto in 2027. And in his statement, he has given us none of such situation. So what I think, you cannot take statements by Governor Wanga and attribute them to the man Raila Odinga. You cannot start to create and extrapolate the political conduct of politicians and confuse that to be supporting president in 2027. But most importantly, Nyanza is part of this country. And when the president is developing Nyanza, I don't think what is so sad to some parts of this country that anytime the president goes to Nyanza, all we say is that because the president has gone there, now we are going to support him. Even Nyanza has a share in this government. They have a share in this country which needs to be protected. And who protects them? It is the Constitution of Kenya that protects them to be part and parcel of the development of this country. The MOU is quite succinct. And Raila Odinga has always given us the background that led him to going to support Ruto. For purposes of the 2022-2027 limit of governance in terms of aiding his government to deliver to the people of Kenya. But that MOU did not extend to who we are going to support in 2027. So Raila Odinga is simply telling us as loyal party members that wait, at the right time we are going to conduct a PG meeting or all party members meeting and agree that, okay, this is what Ruto is bringing on the table and his party, and this is basically what we want to do as a party. If members through resolution say, let us support Ruto in 2027, we will. If they don't, and we feel that Raila Odinga, some of us, I told you the other time, including myself, we feel that Raila Odinga can still make it.
For his sixth
time in the ballot.
His sixth try.
His sixth try. And we are saying, if we resolve as such, why not? But if he says, wait, I'm not going to vie, and I feel it is time now to support any of the brothers, because Raila has so many brothers. If he feels that he wants to support Kalonzo, that is the direction we will go. If he says we are going to support Ruto, that is the direction we will go.
We are coming back to the conversation on the effect of what Raila's exit out of the MOU closer to 2027 will have on Ruto. But there's a statement that Jura has made when it comes to the rest of the populace feeling that Nyanza being developed is not in right terms with them, considering the fact that Nyanza overwhelmingly voted as new in the 2022 elections. And the other regions, like the region of Mudomi Njuki, where he was quoted complaining that that region actually voted the president, but the level of development in Embu compared to the level of development in Homa Bay is nowhere closer. So what do you really feel as a person that voted Ruto and as a person that now sits in the opposition? Is this regional development an issue?
Well, I will say that development should be everywhere in Kenya. And I am very happy to see the level of development that is taking place in Nyanza. And having said that, I want to categorically say that I find it very wrong and unfair for the president to decide that he will develop only one region at the expense of all the other regions. Because what we need as a country is equal development, equitable development. If Nyanza has been left aside for a good number of years, substantial amount should be channeled towards developing Nyanza. But you cannot develop Nyanza and leave out like Embu, the way you're saying Mudomi Njuki was complaining. You should make structures and strategies that will ensure the country is developed as a whole. But what we have seen the president doing is that after the signing of the broad-based agreement, he decided to forget about all other areas and decided to solely focus on Nyanza. It is okay, it is not wrong to develop Nyanza, but it is wrong to leave out other regions in terms of development.
Yeah, I get that, and that makes so much sense. I just want to close this Raila statement and the confusion it brings with posing this question to the member of ODM party and an advocate, my senior, Jura. There is concern that Ruto has been riding on the hope that Raila gave him. But there is also a deeper concern that within your own party, there are two silent voices. There's this voice that affiliates itself to Sifuna, that now believes that if Raila shows them the way not to support Ruto, they'll still stay in ODM. Then there's this gap where Raila's long-term supporters have been awarded through CS positions. The likes of Joho and Wandai, who feels like Ruto is the way to go post-2027. So should Raila withdraw from the MOU closer to 2027, how is the ODM party going to deal with this one faction of silent voices that feels that Ruto is the way to go? Are you guys willing to let them go?
Preliminarily, and looking at where we are as a party, that is what we call democracy. That within the party you can air your opinion, notwithstanding the ideological difference that it may have. The truth of the matter is, as I correctly said, that there are people who believe that Raila should be in the ballot. There are those of us who believe, let us support Ruto in 2027. Then there are the faction that also say, whether Raila is vying or not, we cannot go with Ruto. So that is the beauty of democracy. Airing different opinion, but at the end of the day, this will culminate into a resolution that will say we've had all factions of opinion and this is where we want to go as a party. So when we reach there, that is the right time to ask whether really the impact, whether this is going to affect Ruto or it is going to affect the naysayers against the Ruto's presidency.
People have said that Raila has tried for so many times, 5 times, and failed. And people have said that maybe even his last bullet, he has used it and he has failed. But other political analysts feels like Raila's intention has never been to become the president. Raila's intention is always to have a second plan, a plan B, that thrives whether he wins or not. Now, with the introduction of statements like the ones he made, that ODM has not said that they're not going to front a candidate in 2027, could you perhaps say that this is the move that Raila is having, to have chances to share whoever wins the election in 2027? Or is it a clear way that Raila himself is trying for a 6th time from your lenses?
Well, first of all, I would want to say that we only have one enemy as a country, and that is the policies of this government and the leadership of this government. They came, they formed the government promising a lot of good things, but I think they left their manifesto somewhere and they brought something else and they started implementing something else. So when I hear Raila Odinga wants to vie or is opening up the space for fielding a candidate under ODM ticket, I feel very joyful because it is something that most Kenyans will want. We only have one enemy. And that is the poverty created by this government.
And the enemy is not Raila.
If Raila joins the team, that is, it depends with the side that he is in. If he's in the side of the enemy, well, he becomes part of it.
But
if he leaves and comes to the other side, we fight the enemy together.
Okay.
So I really want to believe that Raila is showing the light and showing the direction that they are walking out of government, and I would want them to do that. Whether he'll join the united opposition or whether he'll run on his own, that is okay. But we only have one enemy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Raila made a statement that who told you that ODM will not front a candidate? This statement has been taken in different shapes in the Kenyan political space. But this for a fact, if Raila fronts his head into that race, he will garner more than 1 million votes. And if a third force enters and garners more than 1 million votes, then neither of the contestants will get 50% plus one. This has been attributed as a move by Raila to control the power sharing post-2027. But Raila's side, there's a gentleman called Kalonzo Musyoka that your party sent to AKUDE invite to attend the 10th to 12th ODM celebrations that will occur in Mombasa, and he has publicly declined. What's going on between the relationship of Raila and Kalonzo from your lenses before we go into the intricacies?
When I invite you to attend my function, the only sense of invitation is to accept or decline. You tell me you can come or you cannot, but it cannot be now seen beyond rhetorical grandstanding in a way, because if Kalonzo says that he's not coming, that is his choice as Kalonzo. Whether that is anchored on his own perspective of things, viewing ODM, that is up to him. But he knows for a fact that it is only ODM party that is capable of conducting birthdays in this country.
So Kalonzo says that he has the Wiper conference set that he had planned to attend prior to that, but politically we know that Kalonzo is shying away from attending the Raila's event because he's currently in the united opposition. But Saruni, what would you say is the reason why Kalonzo is declining now to attend the Jubilee conference set for tomorrow, now that he's free and the Jubilee is also still within the united opposition?
First, I will say, let me comment about the invite to Mombasa from ODM. And what I will say is, when Ogola, you're my friend, and I am heading to town using a certain route, but you request me to use a different route so that we can go to town together. But on our way there, you run away and you leave me stranded, and I have to find my own way to get to town. That is what Kalonzo has gone through with their relationship with Raila.
Series of betrayals.
A series of being left aside. Honorable Raila decides to walk out without even consulting, and then requesting Kalonzo to join him. And I think it gets to a point where you're misused and used, and you decide enough is enough. So I think at this point we have reached that point where Kalonzo feels it's no longer tenable to be of service to someone who wants to use you. Regarding the invite to the Jubilee
Special Delegates Conference here.
Jubilee had some issues in the recent past. They went to court, they had a court ruling in favor of the current leadership, and then they decided to form now the NDC, to call for an NDC. So what Kalonzo wants is for this team to put their house in order. According to my understanding, I understand that Kalonzo wants to let the Jubilee team, put their house in order. And then after that, now they can have proper mechanisms of how to work together. Because if you see, rumors are at some point that Matiang'i might get, Dr. Matiang'i might get endorsed by Jubilee. But from the Gazette notice, we did not see Dr. Matiang'i's name in the list of the National Executive Committee. So, in my opinion, I feel Honorable Kalonzo wants to just let the Jubilee team put their house in order, and then after that they are good to work together.
Of course, that's what Kalonzo said. Kalonzo said that the last time he attended a Jubilee conference like that, there was a court order to the effect saying that other members who are not members of Jubilee infiltrated the decisions of the party. But critics have said that Kalonzo could be shying away from this NDC because this is going to be the platform where Okengo Matiang'i might be endorsed as the presidential candidate to take on Ruto. Jura, what do you think could be the main reason why
such endorsements are natural? You know, if I attend their party meeting,
in DP now,
and then they have their own candidates. I don't see anything wrong with their party endorsing him for presidency. When myself, I'm also eyeing the same seat. Because if we are driven by comradeship as a team, then we need to say, you are coming on board, I'm coming on board. Let us have our own meeting and agree who is actually going to lead us. But why is Kalonzo running away from that responsibility? Kalonzo is basically running away from votes, which is actually something that is, that is his character. Running away from votes, running away from critical meetings where we expect him to go and talk boldly. Because if his fear is Matiang'i, for example, or he believes that these people are going to endorse Matiang'i, if I were him, I would go to that forum, listen to the views of the delegates themselves, and speak, rival the same, standing right there. And if I feel it is something that is quite demeaning, then I think it would carry the day in terms of sympathy votes. So it's just being a political amateur, so to speak. And these are characters who like to be, they are just two politicians who like to be jabbed, and that is why they are blaming Raila Odinga, because that is the physician who is capable of jabbing them to life.
Kalonzo said that perhaps prior he was a political amateur, but right now he feels like all his wings have been developed and he can fly on his own.
Never.
Is Justin Muturi going to attend the Jubilee National Delegates Conference?
And even himself.
Well, as I say,
Are you going to attend?
I'm not a member of Jubilee,
But you're a member of the United
but I'm
Opposition.
the member of United Opposition. And well, as you had Honorable Kalonzo rightly saying, he said that the court order was based on people who are non-members attending that NDC. And right now, where Jubilee stands is at a critical position where they want to really have to set their legal structures in place. And if people were to attend that meeting, again, they will pull the same card. Some people who have grievances, they will go and say that we have members who are people who attended who are not members. So I am not sure whether Honorable JB Muturi, my party leader, will attend, but based on my understanding, I don't find any need, because right now there is the need to let Jubilee put their house in order, because this is a special NDC. If it was another NDC, regular NDC, they will decide now we can even call friends to do something, because it actually depends on the agenda of the day. And when the agenda is open to welcoming guests, you welcome guests. But when the agenda is very tight and very fixed and based on party internal party arrangements, there is no need to have guests when you're setting your house in order.
Okay, so we are clearly knowing that the Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party will not attend the Jubilee National Delegates Conference, and we hope to see the decision that his boss, the party leader, will be making that time. Jura, I want to ask you this. Now that Kalonzo has declared that without this presidential election having him as the presidential candidate, it's never for him. And Matiang'i has also declared that this is his time to go for the presidency. At the same time, the Mountain Keeper feels like if all these people do not meet the requirement, then he's fronting himself as the person to face Ruto. How do you see the United Opposition faring on as the days agonizingly head towards 2027?
And I've said this before, I think in this forum. I did tell you that I don't see these people coming together post August 2026 or thereabout, when the campaign is going to start hitting at the climax, because of the individual interests that they have already portrayed. We see, because all this that somebody is being invited to attend a function, failing to attend, is because of individual issues, nothing much. There are people who believe my time is now or never. You know, when you want to put your interest above the country's interest, then that is where they lose the trajectory. If they thought that Ruto was the main enemy for the economy of this country or any other political correctness that they so wish to come and correct, then I think they need to join forces. Like, you know, like wedding someone. It is like, whether in sickness or what, I'll be there to support you.
Death and life.
Death and life. But this is not what these people are doing. Matiang'i will insist that he wants to go, but I know Matiang'i will finally be on the same side as Raila Odinga. Their spokesperson is a ardent party supporter. I need to tell them that. And I know that Wamioro with his Mount Kenya will also have his way as the minority, like his party obviously is a minority, whether he will deny that or accept. The truth is, these people are not going to join forces post 2020. Let's say towards 2027, they are not going to be together. And it is at that point that now coalitions are going to start to be registered. Because you know, the current political parties arrangement that we have, you are allowed to register a coalition government as a political party, so that it is a conglomeration of many
political parties,
individual parties. So for them to meet this requirement early enough beforehand, they need to start giving a signal early enough. But we'll see. Matiang'i going this direction, Kalonzo going that direction, another person this direction, which will make them limping at the end of the day.
It will be a limping united opposition towards the ballot.
Yes.
With these allegations, and because you guys have more than 3 individual people with self-interests, do you see the united opposition sustaining itself into the 2027 election?
Well, first I will say there is no one there with self-interest. All of them have national interest, but they want to be the champion, the individual who is pushing or who is in front.
It's a committee of equals, right?
While pushing for that national interest. It is a meeting of equals, and I will equate it to students who are in high school and they want to send a representative for a mathematics congress. So the first thing for you to do is to pass your exam. After you pass your exam, we will decide the person who has the best marks will be the person who will represent us in that contest. So right now, what the opposition principals are doing, they are doing their assignment. They are doing what is right. You cannot be a presidential candidate for the opposition if you haven't been able to show that you're willing to be that presidential candidate. You haven't told people and communicated to them. Because if you're very silent, even if we decide it's you, people will wonder why have you settled on such a candidate, yet he never expressed directly that he was interested in that position. So what they are doing is just trying to communicate to the nation and trying to request the nation to support them if the opposition settles for them. And looking at their statements, looking at their posts on different social media platforms, I can tell you for a fact, they are very committed towards working together.
Jura has blamed Mukisa Kitui for being an ardent supporter of Baba, and we will come to that shortly. In this arrangement of the united opposition, everyone has a party except Matiang'i, which means everyone has a locality that will be their stronghold before they start looking for votes elsewhere, except Matiang'i. Now, there are conversations that have been hinted that on Tuesday, Matiang'i met individuals that could be aligned to President William Ruto. Do you think that Matiang'i is jumping the ship? And if yes, why?
You know, political negotiations are things that are ongoing. They are ever continuous. And even right now, I can tell you, without minting my words, that even Kalonzo Musyoka, there are discussions to win to the government side. If he agrees to those negotiations and the proposal, then I don't know what will happen to the united opposition, as they call themselves. The same way, even Matiang'i, who is Matiang'i's boss? If you are a good political analyst, it is Uhuru Kenyatta. But is Uhuru Kenyatta opposed to Ruto's government?
Well, he's silent. You can't say that Uhuru Kenyatta supports Ruto.
You've had Raila Odinga, because this is Raila Odinga's best friend. He supported Raila Odinga in the previous election. And Raila told us But even before he went and joined hand with Ruto, he consulted Uhuru Kenyatta and Uhuru agreed to it. So what tells you that Matiang'i won't cross and come back to the government side? It is possible. So we cannot, it is a house of cards. Today Kalonzo would be saying that what he's saying, tomorrow is in government. Matiang'i would be saying, I'm the one going tomorrow, he will be one of the campaign managers campaigning for Ruto for 2027. It is very possible.
The united opposition is facing that division that is really not public, but we feel it's already going on within their confines. The Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party saves face and tells us that the united opposition is intact. But from a ODM supporter and most other Kenyans, we see that the number is so large that self-interest might overplay national interest come 2027. The civic lens will keep zooming our lenses into what goes on in the united opposition until the did it. Here with you, we go to our third story today.
Maybe before we go to our third story,
Sure.
I would want to comment about the statement by my learned friend,
Mukisa Kitui.
Dr. Mukisa Kitui.
I wanted to throw it under the
No. We have to discuss it because personally in 2022 I was supporting Kenya Kwanza government because my party was in an agreement with them.
Martha Karua was actually a vice president under the Azimio.
Under the Azimio. If anything, you can say Martha Karua was more closer to Raila because she was the running mate
Than Mukisa Kitui.
So for you to wrongfully accuse Dr. Mukisa Kitui of being affiliated to ODM is trying to throw doubt that with the intention of splitting the opposition, of which I will tell you for a fact, regardless of anything, he is the spokesperson of the united opposition and he is loyal to the cause.
Why did you make that statement? So that before we throw it under the bus.
The truth is the tectonic plates of the united oppositions are already weakening and eventually they will break. Even Martha Karua that we are talking about was Raila Odinga
Vice in the Azimio.
vice in Azimio. And that does not tell you that when she crossed and went to the united opposition, they no longer talk. I told you negotiations are continuous. And even Martha is part and parcel of this arena of negotiation. And that is why I'm pretty sure that at the end of the day, we will not have this united opposition. We'll have a divided opposition.
Well, I will say I'm not privy to any such knowledge at this point that Mother is in talks with Raila Odinga or the other people. Even Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was once running mate to Raila. So if we are to look at history and judge people that they are not loyal to the cause based on their history of relations, I think we'll be doing ourselves an injustice.
That is very true. Politics is a game of interest, but still waters runs deep, and we might not really overrule that certain interest might change ahead of 2027. As it stands right now, whichever camp anyone is in, that is the camp that the civic lens attributes them to be in until they change. Now, on to our third story. President William Ruto, alongside Honorable Kabogo, and funny enough, Honorable Joho, are attending the UNGA session that's currently going on in New York. That is the United Nations General Assembly conference. Now, he made certain statements, and these statements have been discussed in different platforms here in Kenya and even in the social media. Alongside these two bright minds, we want to dissect the effect of Ruto's statement for your consumption. I'll start with you. What did you take of Ruto's statements, Saruni?
Well,
listened to them.
First of all, at times you wonder the caliber and nature of people that we send to this forum. Because
are you doubting our president?
I will say,
is it Kabogo and Joho?
You see, when you take people to represent the country and they are busy eating njugu karanga at such a high level forum, you're left to wonder whether really
they're celebrating our resources here locally, Saruni.
But those are not local resources.
They did carry that njugu karanga, but let's go to the substance.
Yeah. So having said that, I have taken time to analyze the speech by the president at UNGA, and one, I can say that on the matters of Haiti, it is okay to be concerned about your neighbor, But the person who is doing that is not the right person, because the injustice that are happening in Kenya, the number of goons that are ruining people's lives and businesses in Nairobi is something that should be of great concern to the president. And we have never heard him comment about it, but we are hearing him commenting about goons in other countries. So I want to feel that those are misplaced priorities, and our president has that tendency of looking outside and forgetting about the issues that concern us inside. So I think I would leave it at that, and here to listen to what my brother has to say about it.
Yeah, you see, before I go to Jura, you see the statement on Haiti was very categorical. Ruto was saying that Kenyans think beyond themselves to look at humanitarian issues that are affecting other countries.
Yes.
But then, just borrowing from what my brother Saruni has said, we witnessed the 24th June 2024 and the 24th June 2025 protests, and the humanitarian support was really limited. So please break it down to our listeners. Why would Ruto focus on Haiti while these problems, as Saruni says, are also right here at home?
First, patriotism demands that when we send our president with a symbol of the state in the international space, it is good, or rather common sense and good thing to support the president. So I find it quite betrayal on the part of my friend to say that whatever president was saying in the international forum were misplaced priorities. These were issues that are serious. They were serious humanitarian issues, serious security issues, serious financial issues that the president placed right at the necessary forum that needed to resolve and find a way to mitigate them. So you cannot come here and start telling us that the president, placed things that were not supposed to be placed before the international audience. One, the question of membership, or rather representation within the UN Security Council, is a serious issue. It is an issue that flows in the bloodstream of the entire Africa. That why is it that most of the security concerns that we face are Africa security issues, and we invite the international community to come to our aid. Yet, at the table where these are being discussed, there is weak representation from the African countries. And this is what the president was saying: please reconsider this position.
So let me,
which to me was a necessary and bold statement.
Let me engage you here. When we're talking about the UNSC, the United Nations Security Council, there is 5 permanent members, the veto, and there is 10 non-permanent seats, where Kenya itself is a member of the non-permanent seats. So if I'm getting this right, and if our viewers are getting this right, it's your position and Ruto's position that an African country needs to sit among these 5.
Yes, they need to sit as permanent members as well, so that when serious decisions are being made, they are not seconded to another subcommittee to decide on, or they come like they enjoy veto powers. If there are people who make resolutions in the nature of veto powers, we want representation of Africa in the same forum. And for me, that was a very necessary and bold step that President Ruto made. And you could even feel the audience when Ruto made that statement. Secondly, we've had our challenges in trying to enhance the security at Haiti. And the president was still again telling the forum the challenges that we've been facing, that we try to act like brothers, because the population in Haiti are basically people of African descent. We need to support them in their security challenges. But for us to support them, there is serious financial muscle that is needed. And Ruto was telling these people, wait, we are here to support. We have seen countries whose only role is to, make comments, but they're not supporting in any kind. And he was posing challenge to them so that they find a way in which we can collectively come together and support this. And that is the demand of humanitarian law. The other thing, which is a serious concern, he has talked about goons, that locally we have goons, and at the international stage, there are also questions of goons that Ruto was not supposed to go and address. Let me tell you, Mr. Gola, that it is out of good, there is what we call cosmopolitanism. And this one you can get when you do what we call global justice. and you realize that sometimes when you are solving problems, it is better to solve problem at the international stage, so that when you come back locally, it is so easy to solve the local problem. Because at the international stage, you will have so many eyes looking at you and how to deal with a challenge, such that if you're the one perpetuating those challenges, they will call you to order. So it is good order as well to say at the international stage that these are the challenges we are seeing. Why is it that there are some countries that you see certain countries talking loud about when it comes to matters of humanitarian law, and when it comes to like Gaza issues, they keep quiet about it? Why would that happen? It means there are some countries that are being treated as second-class citizens against the dictates of humanitarian law. And that is what Ruto was talking about. Ruto spoke about financial issues, and in particular some of the projects that we get donated, financing, infrastructure, and even the framing of the same. Like if you look at our country, we get debts from outside, but the cost is quite high. That these things are quite unfair. Why can't we make them fair? We have institutions like IMF, we have institutions like World Bank, as old as 1945, but they are still using old principles that are not quite tenable in the recent state.
So this support that Jura has for President William Ruto comes from a section of Kenyans that support the president. And there's a statement he started with, that when we send a representative in the national forum, then it beats logic for us not to support that delegate that we have sent to the international forum. Earlier today in the Standard paper, the top story is of this individual police officer whose families have been looking for over 6 months. There's petition, they have talked to the AG, they have tried to reach Ruto, they have tried to reach anyone who can tell them about the whereabouts of their son that was kidnapped, and further information was not revealed about him. In the Unga speech of Ruto, the families now realized that one of their sons that they've been looking for over 6 months had actually died, and the government was aware of this information and did not disclose to them that they only had to come and learn of it from Ruto's speech internationally. What do you make of that?
Yeah, you see, it's very unfortunate that you will put such a family through all that trauma and agony, because it has been a lot of months since we first heard about that story of Benedict, and it was evident that he had died, according to local discussions, when people were talking. But what the family wanted was communication from the government that your son is no longer there, and we are doing everything possible to retrieve his body. But the government went silent. He decided to downplay the life of that fallen comrade. The goons in Haiti communicated and shared pictures saying that the guy was dead. But the government deliberately decided not to communicate to the family. For the president to go and share that information on an international platform without informing the family, it is very unfair and very unfortunate. What I will say is, yes, there are good things that the president has pushed for, including African representation at the UNSC. But the problem that we find with him, he's very good at talking and requesting for people to implement things. But when it comes to his turn to perform, he does not perform. I was listening to his speech when he was talking about Africa's representation, and I decided to deliberately replace the word Africa with youth representation and UNSC with government. And if you are to listen to that speech and take it that the president is requesting for youth representation in government, you will find that there is a lot of double speak. He is speaking what he does not believe in and what he does not implement, because he is good at requesting other people to perform their roles, but he himself is very reluctant when it comes to performing his duties.
Jura, no, you see, Saruni is blaming the government, and specifically the president, from speaking from both sides of his mouth. What would you comment on Benedict's situation and the president's speech that included it as we conclude that?
The first and quick rejoinder to my friend said, when it comes to international issues, let us support our government. Our only person who can represent the government of Kenya at the international stage is the president, who is the head of state. So before we come back and start dealing with our internal issues, let us show the world that we are one united community. So that when we come back home, we can now raise some of those things. But we cannot use local issues to discredit the international message that we know, if regularized, would have impact at home, and positive impact, so to speak. So I don't agree with him to that extent. Regarding
Maybe just to comment about that.
I think it is my time. I have the platform.
Just a minute, Jura. Let's take the comment so that you subsume it in your.
Maybe just to comment about that. You see, what we are doing is we are pushing the president to do what he is asking for. We are not castigating him in the international platform for pushing for the good things for Africa. But what we are saying is, it's okay to do that. But what are you doing at home? Charity begins at home.
Let's now hear the general comment of the. Now, weird enough, because we're talking about United Nations General Assembly, where all general comments comes from. But let's hear the general comment of AKUDE JURA as he answers Saruni's valid concern.
I want to say it is a sorry state for the family that lost their loved one. But I do understand that when it comes to those who lose their life in disciplined forces, there is a way they deal with it. And out of that procedure and out of abundance of caution, things might have not worked well for the family. And it is quite unfortunate that they learned it during the presidential speech. And I think the government would do better in terms of addressing the concerns of the family, disclosing the information, ensuring that they support the family in retaining the body of their loved one, and even possibly compensating the families. That is the comment I can say. It is a very sad situation.
Now, generally, ladies and gentlemen, as we are coming to the conclusion of the weekly recap, we had these three top stories. We'll be taking the general comments. Again, I love to use that word, general comments. We'll be taking the recap or the general comments of these two brilliant minds. I'll start with the Jesse Saruni on what is his take this week and what is his recap. And then I'll proceed to my senior, AKUDE JURA, on his take and his recap. That will be the civic lines.
Well, my take this week will be that as a country, we are heading towards the voter registration period.
Yes.
And I want to encourage all the young people to really take time and think about the validity of their voice, the validity of their vote, and to get their documents ready. If you don't have an ID, make sure you register to get an ID, so that when we start doing the voter registration drive, you're good to go. That is it for me.
Thank you, Saruni. What's your recap?
I want to support the statement by my party leader, Raila Odinga. And what I know, we have to manage expectations, maintain loyalty, and make future flexible. For future, we all know that even Baba himself is fated to become the sixth in this nation.
As we maintain those expectations, and as Saruni asks the youth to actually show up to have this voter registration practice done, today on the weekly recap we are looking at the statements of Raila Odinga that threw confusion in the political spectrum. We also zoomed our lenses into Kalonzo's decline to attend both Raila's invite and the Jubilee's invite and the effects of the same. But majorly, we narrowed down on the statements that have been made by President Ruto in the ongoing United Nations General Assembly Summit in New York. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we keep shaping your minds and keep shaping your eyes, because democracy requires you to have those sharp eyes to understand and to have those sharp ears to listen. This is the Civic Lens.